Good evening, everyone. It is time now 6 o'clock, and I would like to call this special session of the Kanawha County Board of Education to order. Before we get started, we want to make some introductions. I am Rick Cavender. I'm the current president of the Kanawha County Board of Education. To my far right is Executive Secretary Debbie Lewis. To her left is our Superintendent, Dr. Tom Williams. To my immediate right is Mrs. Tracy White. To my immediate left, Mrs. Becky Jordan. To her immediate left is Mrs. Kate White, and to her immediate left is Mr. Jim Crawford. Moving on with the agenda, we will start with a presentation from our Superintendent, Dr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Cavender. Thank you all for being here this evening. School closures are among the most difficult recommendations that anyone in my position can make. We know that our schools are fixtures in our communities, and they mean so much to the areas they serve. We do not take these recommendations lightly, and please know that we are here to listen, and I know that we will keep the meeting civil and respectful. As many of you know, the Kanawha County Schools student population is shrinking. In the last 11 years, we have lost approximately 5,000 students. The West Virginia legislature funds school systems based on the number of pupils. Therefore, over the last 11 years, we have lost the funding associated with those 5,000 students. That equates to roughly 475 positions being lost over the last 11 years and approximately $28 million in state funding over the same period. The West Virginia legislature is the only group that can change the state funding formula. In addition to the loss of funding, we are also facing increases in required spending in the areas of utilities, waste management, maintenance, and an increase in our mandatory liability insurance. Kanawha County Schools has been very good with budgeting, and we have been able to absorb large losses without cutting deeply into schools or programs. But we are at the point now where we cannot continue to cut positions without also consolidating schools. You are probably wondering why my school. When making these difficult recommendations for consolidation this year, I had to first look at schools that could be consolidated without significant additional costs to the district. The two schools where this could occur are East Bank and McKinley Middle Schools. They were selected because there are schools nearby that can accept the students at both without any additions. Anytime there is a school consolidation, there is a concern by staff at both the closing school and the accepting school over school retention and the process. When the staffing season occurs, all staff across the county will vote on whether to give priority ranking to the staff from East Bank and the staff, in this case, at DuPont, if the board makes the decision to vote to close. So if they would have to hire additional folks at DuPont and the staff in the county would approve this, and they always have in the past, then the East Bank teachers and staff would have priority. If this consolidation were to occur during second semester, students from East Bank will have the opportunity to join DuPont students at DuPont to begin to meet new classmates and become familiar with the building. As outlined in the meeting notice, speakers will have, and we have 26, 28 speakers, so each speaker will have 3 minutes, and the most each speaker can have is 6 minutes. So if someone donates their time, then that speaker can have an additional 3 minutes for a total of 6 minutes. First, we will hear from the folks from East Bank, and then we will hear from the folks from DuPont. At this time, Mr. Cavender, our board president, will call the names of those in the order in which they signed up to speak.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. And I want to really quickly just thank all those who came tonight to voice your concerns and to let us hear you and your thoughts and your concerns. And those who signed up to speak. So I would like to start with the list that we've gotten from East Bank Middle School, and the first person on that list is Reverend Bill Sigley. Is he here?
Right here.
Oh, great. Well,
members of the Kanawha County School Board. My name is Reverend Bill Sigler. I come before you today as both an Episcopal priest and one lifelong resident of Kanawha County. I am alumnus of Rand Elementary School, now closed and consolidated. I attended DuPont Junior High, which has been demolished. And I graduated from Riverside High School, class of 2002. The schools I attended helped shape me into who I am today. And I'm here to express my concern about the proposed closures and consolidation of 5 more schools in the Upper Kanawha Valley. The impact of these closures will not be limited to parents, students, and teachers. These schools are the heart of their communities, providing stability and connection in places that have already been struggling for years. Our region has endured industrial decline, population loss, and repeated hardships. Closing these schools feel like yet another blow to communities that have already been repeatedly kicked while down. Beyond the immediate educational consequences, this move threatens to sever critical ties within our towns and neighborhoods. When schools close, communities lose more than a building. They lose a central place where relationships are built, where young people grow, and where hope for the future takes shape. Consolidating these schools may lead to fewer opportunities for our children to be seen and heard as individuals, which can be harmful to their personal and academic development. I ask the school board to deeply consider the long-term consequences. If you feel this is the absolute necessary path, then you must ensure that the students do not get lost in the shuffle. Ensuring that each student receives the attention, resources, and support they need during a significant disruption to their lives. Our children deserve stability. They deserve communities that nurture their growth, and they deserve schools that value their potential. I urge you to engage with parents, teachers, and the community to find solutions that protect the well-being and future of the students in the Upper Kanawha Valley. Thank you for your time.
Next on the speaker's list is Carrie Ham. Okay, great. Next on the list is Jesse Kessler.
Good evening. My name is Jessie Kessler. I'm a parent and East Bank Middle School student, former alumni class of East Bank High, 1998. I am currently a master's prepared nurse, and I help ensure that we maintain a level 1 trauma center at CAMC General. So investing in my community and ensuring that we have the proper resources in place is my daily job. And I want above and beyond today to make sure that we understand and are very clear what we're here for. I hope this statement that was made this morning on the Kanawha County Facebook page with reference to history and legacy doesn't fall short this evening, as East Bank has a very rich history and legacy in Hall of Fame NBA player Jerry West, as well as NFL player Chris Massey. Our concerns are collectively outlined as a group this evening, and we welcome not only consideration for future children, but the sustainability of the economy in eastern Kanawha County. First, let's look at the numbers. East Bank Middle School currently has 93,000 square feet. DuPont, 85,000. Maximum capacity of East Bank, 805. And this is all published on the website that you provided. DuPont, 749. Both building conditions were deemed below average. Our building at East Bank was built in 1968, making us 6 years younger than DuPont's building. Current enrollment is 243 at East Bank, 407 at DuPont, and that is post-absorption of Cedar Grove Middle School, which kind of inflates the number if you're going singularly off the schools. The operating cost for East Bank is roughly $2.2 million, DuPont $3.2 million. In the proposal that you outlined and was available to us as community members, in detail it went over each building. There were photographs provided, everything was included in there. There was an estimated renovation cost for East Bank Middle of $332,000, 7 $728.50. DuPont, however, needs $4.1 million in renovations. If you look at those numbers alone, that is a huge disparity of $3.8 million. If we're evaluating equity for these children, it's not there. My next point, as noted by Scott Shepard in an evidence-based study in 2019, a scalpel, not a sledgehammer, studies that show forced consolidation are bad for students. He noted that top-down, statewide forced consolidation mandates fail. They do not lower cost or improve performance. While some consolidations can be advantageous, they are undertaken on a case-by-case basis, which is what we implore you to do tonight, after careful study and consideration of the unique facts in play. Number 2 point, most of the benefits of consolidation came a century ago. A century, 100 years, when small, rural, one-teacher, one-room schoolhouse districts were combined into somewhat larger districts. Those days are gone. Consolidation, he also highlights, entails significant startup costs. In the documentation that you provided on your website, if you look at the renovations, in addition to the operating costs, we're looking at roughly $5 million of startup costs to transfer our students to be absorbed at DuPont Middle. The 4th point that was brought out in this evidence-based research article is consolidation that involves significant student travel, which most of our students will be on the bus for upwards of 90 minutes, unlike what was published, often result in decreased educational results for students in all demographic categories, not just the poor kids. To follow up with that, Dr. Joyce Smithson, in Closures and Consolidations, the evidence of how impact in districts might adjust, notes that particularly for rural communities, there is evidence that consolidation has a host of negative impacts on students and the community at large. Often schools in small communities fulfill needs that extend beyond the classroom education. Schools in rural areas are cultural centers, hubs for sports. If there is nothing else you take away tonight, we all are part of a legacy and a history that started in 1913 with Cabot Creek High School, that evolved into East Bank High School, that has carried on state championships. Ralph Hensley is one of the winningest football coaches in history in the state of West Virginia, and East Bank High School. Does. I implore you, I beg of you, consider other measures to improve fiscal efficiency or educational services. Some examples include cooperative purchasing agreements among districts, bringing in virtual options for some specialized classes that can be for those with IEPs and special needs, and IEPs for gifted as well. Also, the advancement of the student. Place the student first. These aren't buildings. I have a child at the middle school. She's in 8th grade. This won't affect her, but I have a kindergartner that it will. And I beg of you, please consider everything presented to you tonight and take it to heart as if you were a mother standing in my shoes.
Teresa, I'm sorry. Good evening, Mrs. Howard.
I'm Teresa Howe, a resident of the Upper Kanawha Valley, where I reside with my husband. We are both graduates of East Bank High School. I'm a nurse with a bachelor's degree. My husband has dual majors in accounting and computer and data processing. He currently works as a sole proprietor as a certified public accountant in Bell. He also has an internship program with several colleges across the state to entice the young adults to stay in West Virginia and help them academically. It's about Valley. The total disregard and disrespect for this process is uncalled for. Even the KRT gave consideration to the people in the community and had 3 public hearings and let them weigh in on the decision. The timing of this proposal indicates a well-planned effort and way to bring this to the public considering the last levy. In the last levy, it says, in the event of a school closure or a significant loss of students, amounts designated for these purposes may be set forth herein and moved elsewhere. In the end, your decision to leave one middle school for the entire Upper Kanawha Valley will forever impact these kids. I suggest you take this to the bonfire, and you allow the administrators and teachers and business owners, parents, LSIC board members, and everyone else to weigh on this decision. Please vote this down.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. I believe it's Chuck, but I'm not sure what the last name is. Blair, thank you so much. Yeah.
I'm here this evening to talk to you. I think that this, they say consolidation, I say it different. I say that this is one of the best kept secrets in all my years of being here. I respectfully say we gave no time to discuss this. We had any input. We had a couple hour meeting and decisions made. When other schools were consolidated, for example, when East Bank and DuPont consolidated, we had months and months to work with it and discuss it. Now it's just going at us so quickly, we don't even get a chance to make a real intelligent decisions. I didn't even know that we can ask questions tonight and get them answered. I was told we wouldn't speak to them. I'm going to ask the questions that I want. But we need to table this for now, to give us some time to work with it together as a team and work hand in hand and do what's best. Let you hear our side, let us hear your side, and let's just come to a meeting and talk about it. And we don't need a bunch of police officers. We'll be civil, I promise. So please, okay? In all my years of mayor, there's been many times people come and say, "Hey, Mayor, you've been mayor up here since Moby Nichols and that. I need a favor. I'm running for office. Can you help me? Can you talk to the mayor? Can you call me? Can you do this? Can you do that for me?" And I always try to, because I think that's my responsibility to take care of the kids at East Bank. And that's what I always thought you folks would do, would take care of the kids at East Bank. But when you decide to close your school, not one person called me and said, "Hey, Mayor, let's talk about closing the school. You spent 50 years of your life up there. You've done a lot. I think I've done a lot for that community. You should have more input, or as much as anybody else, because you put the time in. You helped the kids. You did all the things that should have been done, and there's no input. And not only is it unfair, it's actually a slap in the face. You know, I don't want to take too much time. I want to close with one thing. I heard a saying that it takes a village to raise a child. Folks, here's your village. If somebody has to call me and say, "Hey, can somebody just at the middle school is closed or doesn't have enough to eat or food to take home or a family doesn't have," that not one of us in here probably had to help. That's right. We're the village. And take it someplace else that's not our village. I humbly ask you to table this, not vote tonight, and let's sit down and talk about this like adults and see if we can't work something out that we can all live with.
For those of you who have not been involved in these hearings in the past, Mr. Blair does make a good point in that as far as hearing your all's concerns and giving your questions, I know all 5 of us are here taking a lot of notes as you're all speaking. We do plan to have a very full conversation with many questions I want to assume not to get through the public hearing space. So I do want to make sure that that is clear.
The discussions will be with us? Will be included?
We will be discussing once we hear from you all. That's how the process works. So I do want to make sure. I don't want you to think we're up here not listening and not taking notes, but you definitely are.
And I'm
That's okay.
Before you make a decision, will you ask us questions? Will you talk to us about it? Are you just going to say, okay, we heard what you said, what we're going to do?
I was just clarifying to make sure you understood that once we hear from you all, we will have several questions and have a conversation based on everything we've heard this evening. Thank you. Next, of course, next on the list is Mr. David Peters.
Yes, David Peters. I am the coach of East Bank Middle School football, but also pastor on both sides of the river. This is not about separating us, but in some way finding the right path that's best for all of us. So let's be clear, as was said, this is not a proposal. This is an absorption for East Bank into DuPont, also McKinley into Hayes. What is being proposed is the loss of our identities. Two schools and two communities will lose their entire identity and forced to embrace someone else's identity. A true consolidation would include a new identity, a new name, new colors, new mascot, and also involve a new uniform building. Absorbed into DuPont after being mandated for years to play any other sports that they didn't provide at East Bank. And why? Because DuPont did not desire their other outside students claiming the opportunities that they felt that only their students should get. A barbecue won't fix this. But when Cedar Grove was closed, their students were absorbed into DuPont. If you look back at the enrollment back in 2022, there was a difference of 5 students. 5 students. You have manipulated the numbers to make it be that DuPont is larger than East Bank. A facility that is older and inferior to that of East Bank, an outdated electrical system, outdated HVAC system, and as an electrical contractor, I come to know that if they don't find the reason for the fire, it's always been electrical. So at East Bank, there's been major remodeling projects done in the last 10 years. New roof, new HVAC, new electrical, new floors, new ceilings are not a major portion of fires because of these matters. DuPont's electrical was noted in their review, yet leadership has not visited East Bank in the last 4 years. I don't mean that you send somebody, I mean that you show up yourself. Right? 36%, real quickly, 32% of our students have an IEP. That's a good number. That's a big number. Many of our students have found great success, even though they face those challenges in learning and in communication and in building relationships. Not only in the classroom, but in the area of sports. In fact, sports programs and coaches are a big factor to their success. One such student, he came on the field in 6th grade, said he just wanted to be a manager, had a lot of issues that he was dealing with himself. He just wanted to be a water boy, and that's an important position too. But he found not just water bottles and towels, he found a family. A football team has 22 positions. If you have 2 teams, you have 44 positions, not counting special teams. When you put them together, you have less. There is not going to be more opportunities. There will be less opportunities for all the students of Eastern Kanawha County.
I'm relinquishing today.
Okay.
So in the last statement put out on Monday, we were led to believe, or you were led to believe, we all were led to believe that the absorption would provide more sports opportunities. As I just said, football has 22 positions, not counting special teams. 2 teams offer 44 positions. 1 team offers 22. It doesn't matter how many students you have. Only 22 starting positions in football. Basketball offers 5 starting positions. 2 teams offer, and 1 team offers 5. There are less positions. If you meant additional sports being added, I'm not sure what sports you meant that there would be. Swimming, maybe, but we don't have a pool. Maybe we could go to the river and swim. But this also would require that we travel out of county on a regular basis to even compete. Lacrosse, which is gaining traction across our state, is still not recognized and sanctioned by the SSAC as a sport, right? And why? Because you must have 32 teams in any one class year. If this school has a team this year that can't fill a team next year, they're not counted in the 32. So you must have 32 teams to begin another sport. Maybe you just meant clubs, I'm not sure. But there will be less opportunities in sports that we know and we love. And we realize that some kids only come to school and only succeed and do well in the classroom because of the sports that they are playing. This is a reality. I don't care if it's life or it's not. It's just the reality. Listen, I tell my kids, if you want to play on Thursday, you're going to be respectful on Monday through Wednesday. And that's just the bottom line. If that is taken away without an aggressive effort to study the issues, learn from the past, listen to the needs of the students, and then act upon what we discover, our children are sacrificed. They are sacrificed. They fall through the cracks. And if one student falls through the cracks, that's way too many. That's too many lost. I'm not asking you to vote no. I'm asking you to vote not now. Let's do our homework. Let's sit down and communicate. Let's come to the table and develop a plan that we all can agree on that will help all of our students. I hope you realize if it weren't for our parents carpooling kids to school and activities, they would not be active in anything extracurricular because the bus is their only transportation. We feed these kids before practice. We feed them before games. This is the love and the care that we show, and whether that has an impact on you or not, it should, because it's not just about the bottom line. We can make the bottom line work if we work together.
First, when I walked in here tonight, the first thing I noticed was the credit. You have an East Bank roster, DuPont roster. You want to bring us together, put us together, we want to start at the door when we walk in here, please. The first thing that comes to our mind is the demographics. What's the demographics of what we have? The average poverty rate in these two areas to serve East Bank and DuPont is 18%. East Bank alone is at 24%. You ask, why is this important? Multiple studies suggest that children from economically disadvantaged areas struggle with consolidations. However, in a recent interview last night, the superintendent said that kids are flexible with adjustments. That's from WCHS-TV, so I got that this morning. Schools in smaller communities, like Mr. Peters said, meet the needs of kids beyond the classroom, whether it's carpooling games, practices, or so forth. Many children have dealt with major events in their lives. Many events as adults we have not seen or faced ourselves. These young kids have dealt with these already. Many have also made sacrifices we can't or never will experience in our lifetimes, whether it's with addiction or loss of mom or dad or raised by grandparents. I mean, these kids have dealt more than we'll ever deal with. For many schools, the only outlet in their cake lives. Once again, we ask why this is important. Listen to recent test scores on the WB, Department of Education website. And their website claims that meets or exceeds standard is considered proficient, does not meet or partially meet is not proficient. So with East Bank and DuPont, respectively, DuPont, 64% of the students are not proficient in reading skills, 70% of East Bank are not proficient. It's not even half the kids in the school are proficient when they come out. Let's look at math. DuPont, 76.48% not proficient in math skills. 78.9% of East Bank are not proficient in math skills. Lastly, let's look at science. DuPont, 79.63% are not proficient. East Bank, 93.4%. And one category exceeds expectations, East Bank is 0%, so no kids exceeding that school. We have an issue with education. We need to fix these kids' education system before we worry about consolidating. Put the kids first. Now, the past 35 years have been some major consolidations in the county. How do these rank up as far as on a state basis? Kanawha High School ranks 5th in the county, 50 out of 112 in the state. South Charleston ranks 7th in the county, 59 out of 112 in the state. Riverside ranks 8th in the county, 105 out of 112. I mean, these kids are such a failure from the get-go. We need to take care of the kids first. Thank you.
Okay, first, you've probably already noticed that it's not our intention to cap out on the quality of education or the efficiency of operation at Fremont. We've come together, all of us, to solely point out the absurdity of the proposal put together by the KCS administration to shut our East Bank. Since my wife and I have 5 grandchildren that will be adversely affected, I've been asked to reflect upon the bus transportation schedule specifically and travel times compiled by KCS admin. It's abundantly clear that actual facts have obviously been skewed to favor KCS admin to justify their desired outcome with the board members. Actual facts be damned, justification by any means necessary. What seems rather obvious to us is the fact that this board, who we can only hope is expecting all the facts to review prior to taking action, has only been presented with enough information to create an outcome suited to the whims of the administration. Clearly not acting enough to make a truly educated and honest decision. Now for analysis and review of the proposed bus schedule. And in reviewing the time frames of the current proposed bus routes, it's a total mystery to me, and I have all of the bus routes from all of East Bank clearly available to the Kanawha County Schools admin. However, it's very obvious that they didn't even look at their own information. I have every schedule. So let's get specific. First, let's look very specifically at one route that one of our grandchildren will be forced to endure, the Mayhem route. This route currently begins at the Nazarene Church in Burnwell at 6:10 a.m. Makes 18 student stops at Pratt, arriving at East Bank at 7:25. Add the additional 7, roughly 1 hour and 32-minute trip next year. And the church created by KCS admin, they suggested this will only be 32 minutes. It's right in their proposal, 32 minutes. That's a gross misrepresentation of over an hour. Another with this comparison of truth versus fiction is the Cabot Creek route, our largest center of student population. This actually involves 2 routes merging into one. One bus starts at the top of the creek at 6:06 a.m., then makes 19 stops before arriving at Sharon Dawes at 7 a.m. Waiting there until the bus starts at the mouth of the creek at 6:25 a.m., makes 17 stops and arrives at Sharon Dawes at 7:05 a.m. At that time, the students merge onto one bus, then head to East Bank, arriving at 7:35. This then reflects that after the merger, bus 1 will be on the bus 1 hour and 34 minutes, and bus 2 1 hour and 24 minutes. KCS admin states in their proposal that it's only going to be 29-minute ride. 29 minutes. So, also a gross misrepresentation of roughly an hour or more. Okay?
Mr. Cox, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I don't want her to fight.
In the proposed consolidation documents presented by Kanawha County Board of Education, one vital aspect that was overlooked was the mental health infrastructure that is currently in place at East Bank Middle School. Currently at East Bank Middle, the West Virginia Expanded School Mental Health Program is in place along with 7 other locations in the Kanawha County area. The information for this program comes directly from their website. The initiative is a partnership and shared commitment between the West Virginia Department of Education, the West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources Bureau for Behavioral Health, and the Marshall University School of Medicine to expand access to mental health services for all students through a multi-tiered system of support designed to enhance student mental health. It is a framework that includes the full continuum of prevention, early intervention, and mental health treatment. Schools who utilize the expanded school mental health model will receive positive outcomes from the students, such as improved academic performance, graduation rate, school attendance, school functioning behavior, social and emotional well-being, and reduced barriers to learning. One student in particular, this young man right here, whose parents chose to place them there, that has benefited from the appropriate support through his IEP. His name is J.C. Slack. When he started at East Bank as a 6th grader, he was overwhelmed and overstimulated and had to wear noise-canceling earphones. Most times, those did not help, and he would have to go to the office and sit alone. By working with his IEP and through dedication of the office, the dedication of the staff and faculty at East Bank, J.C. began to come out of his shell. Throughout his time at East Bank, he has not only shined academically, but he has become a central member of the football, wrestling, and baseball teams. This child went from seclusion in 6th grade to kicking on the football at the start of their games as an 8th grader. The efforts for others like him that will walk through the doors of East Bank have the potential to benefit as much, if not more, than Jason has. And with that type of foundation, could go on to become some of the brightest minds this county, state, and world has ever seen, instead of becoming lost in the crowd. In closing, I thank you for your time, and now I ask you, how will you ensure that the mental health infrastructure remains in place and appropriate support is given to all students with disabilities and IEPs? Go Bank.
Well, my name is Joseph Goodnight. I'm a coach at East Bank. I'm also a alumni of 1995. I'm here to help out as a kid. When I heard about this, I was infuriated. People have, stated it. A lot of people here, they believe it. And I've said that, before I was asked to step out of last meeting. What I need you to understand, what I've understood since this isn't an East Bank thing. This isn't a good contract. Because what I'm worried about are those kids. Because when we talk about mental health and drug addiction, I started coaching baseball 2-3 years ago, and kid came across. He was out to practice doing his cussing, trying to fit. His mom and dad. His dad had passed away, and left his mom. And his mom was addicted to drugs. And it was a family that Coach Peters played football with. That was their sister, and they took over this young man and his siblings. And you couldn't even understand, and what's going on since then with this young man is he's in his 8th grade year. He's one of the smartest children I know. All right, he's one of the hardest working individuals that I've met. Okay, but when you combine East Bank and DuPont, and he goes over to play for DuPont, he's going to be part of that doesn't get to play. He's going to be the one that gets that back. And I'm not saying this because I'm East Bank. Tommy's going to have guys that are going to get left out. Okay? I sit here and listen to this gentleman speak, and the first thing that comes out of his mouth is about election. I would like to take just a second and have all East Bank and DuPont children please stand up. How many of them are you willing to sacrifice for your bank?
Thank you for allowing me to be here today. I'd like to start out by taking a look at this building. What a beautiful school, beautiful building. Back in 1996, Governor Dasher came to my house and met with me and my wife. She was a school teacher here in the Upper Kanawha Valley for 30 years. And he wanted us to be able to bring DuPont and East Bank together and combine schools. I looked at him and I said, man, that'd be like asking Pitt in West Virginia to come together. I said, we're arch rivals. You're asking an awful hard lift there. But we in turn had meetings all over the Upper Kanawha Valley at the schools, met with everybody, and we all agreed and came to an agreement that it would be better for our kids and everybody if we could in turn have a new school that offered more classes and better classes for our kids and their education. And this is the blueprint of how that came together. Now think about that. This is the blueprint of East Bank and DuPont. Gaston Capleton knew that there was no way that you could in turn take one and go to the other, or vice versa. It's a win-lose. You can't win in a win-lose situation. You've got to have a win-win. I think this thing needs to be tabled and in turn look at Riverside Middle School and combine it into a new school. The statistics that's used, and you've heard a lot of them at banks around, I'll just say that everybody knows that East Bank's the newer school. East Bank's the bigger school. It's certainly more centrally located than DuPont. DuPont's on the far end of the entire spectrum. So East Bank was the central location of the entire district. In 19 and 12, Cabin Creek District, in turn, everybody went to East Bank. At that time, it was Cabin Creek District High School. In the 20s and 30s, when the mines in turn exploded and population grew, they in turn built DuPont. And DuPont and East Bank was combined. Now I can tell you, I played on the football team at East Bank in 1960. And we were at DuPont with about 5 minutes left in the game. And there was a fight broke out on the field. Both benches empty, the stands empty. An hour and a half later, they finally got a little bit of control of what went on. And for 10 years, we weren't allowed to play each other. Now, you've got the grandparents and the parents, the people that lived through that. And if you in turn try to put one school into the other, it's not going to work. So you close down this thing, and then you close down this thing. Go to the new school, something that can all be proud of, and not in turn be in someone else's back door where they don't belong.
I'm going to yield my time next.
I just want to say that I'm the treasurer of the East Bank High School Alumni Association. We have a great association, and we have every year our annual Alumni Association meeting at the Civic Center with the Coliseum there in Charleston. And we have given out at East Bank and here at Riverside $2 million worth of scholarships. We in turn, give out $35,000 scholarships to the seniors here at Riverside High School. We're extremely proud of how we're committed to this entire community and to the education of our kids. And you need a win-win situation. And this is not a win-win, this is a win-lose, and everybody loses in that situation. You know, I spent 15 and a half years as the state adjutant general, and I took us from 34 armories in the state down to 26. And I'm going to tell you, if you think closing the school bad, you ought to try closing an armory in an Earl Ray Thompson district or an important legislative district. It's almost impossible. And I had to in turn build a program to where that we did it. And one particular area, I shut down the Logan Armory and the Mingo Armory. And I built an armory on the county line of Logan and Mingo, because that's the only way Earl Ray Thompson and Truman Chase would agree to it. I had property from OVEC 22, mine, that we in turn got, and we built it right on the line. Half of that armory was in Mango County, half of it was in Logan County. But that's what pleased the people that made it all happen. And through Senator Byrd's help and support, I in turn successfully completed that program with almost $1 billion worth of infrastructure for the West Virginia National Guard. I'm telling you, money can be raised and money can happen if you're in turn doing the right things for the kids. And it's all about the kids. There are a few. And it's in your all's hands. You can't win with a win-lose. You've got to come up with a win-win. Thank you.
So I attended DuPont Middle School when the Cedar Grove consolidation took place, and it was very crowded and very overwhelming. There wasn't much room for the school dances. The Cedar Grove students were shy and seemed very uncomfortable. They wouldn't talk. It was hard for them to just make friends, and it was hard for us to get the help we needed and focus. Our teachers were stressed out, and so were the students, and we were just really entirely overwhelmed. The lunch lines were so long, it was hard for us to eat lunch when we only had 10 minutes to eat lunch with the long lines. I also played sports at DuPont, and the amount of kids cut from the teams was tremendous. Sports keep kids focused and encourage them to do well in school, and so many were given the opportunity. Just about my whole family attended Cedar Grove from elementary to high school, and seeing how upset and hurt my family was from Cedar Grove closing, I would hate to see some of my East Bank friends go through the same thing that I did. And I really worry about the staff at East Bank losing their jobs, especially my mom, who is Miss Foster. She was the 8th grade English teacher at East Bank. And I just don't want her to lose her job. I'm really worried about all my teachers I had at East Bank too. Because I attended East Bank for a few months of my 8th grade year, and I enjoyed the closeness of the school. The teachers knew us well, and Mr. Wilkinson knew every student's name and talked to everyone. He took time to make sure every student was okay. If he felt something is wrong or still feels something is wrong with the kids or knows something is wrong, he pulls the kid and talks to them. He helps calm the kids down. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Mr. Henry. That's my best friend. Mr. Henry is my best friend, guys. He's a great principal, but it's much harder to name each student on a personal basis like Mr. Wilkinson does because of how much the kids go to DuPont every day. Going from DuPont to East Bank was a very different experience. East Bank was a home for me and my classmates. That's how we felt. East Bank also has a clothing closet for students that DuPont does not. We also had a personal student clinic for us when we were sick or needed somebody to talk to. DuPont didn't have that either. I had really bad anxiety and ADHD. Going to overcrowded school didn't help at all. East Bank had a comforting feeling that helped my anxiety and helped me get through the school day. Students going out of their community and into a new school away from home will make students' anxiety much worse. And I have a lot of friends and a lot of family that live up Mammoth that way, coming to DuPont every day, and it's so hard for them to just sit on the bus for that long. It's a really long time, and they get to school every day at 7:45. They're always late, like they always get there at the target time. And it's like really hard for them to get the right amount of time that they need to like get ready, and it's hard for them to get breakfast sometimes. And just with the whole consolidation happening, I don't think it's a good idea because I just remember about like all the kids coming in, everybody was so nervous. And wrestling, there was at least 3 kids per weight class in wrestling, and it was so hard. Yeah.
I wanted to share with you the positive impact that EBMS has had on me in all of my years and the result of all of the things that they've used to grow me as a student. As a student, I personally had an IEP since the first grade, and East Bank Middle School has done an absolutely amazing job with me and my personal needs. And I'm sure that any of the other 32% of our student body with an IEP can say the exact same that I can. These students have received evaluations by psychologists, social and emotional aspects built into their IEPs. This includes all types of learning disabilities. In my entire 3 years at this school, I've never had one teacher that hasn't went one-on-one with me and fulfilled every need that I've ever asked for or needed. East Bank has provided me with an amazing gifted program every year, and East Bank offers every kid a fair chance at an education. We have everything from a gifted program in place, places where kids like me can take breaks whenever we're too overwhelmed. And we have special classes in place for those kids that are falling behind. Every classroom that I've ever been in at this school has been perfectly split up, and I could not imagine what it would be like if we consolidated. With this consolidation, it would be loads and loads of issues in the classroom. There would be zero one-on-one time for teachers because of just the sheer amount of student population. And I feel that my personal needs could never be met just because of the amount of kids that would share a classroom with me if I consolidated to DuPont. Me and my fellow students at East Bank Middle would continue to thrive in and out of the classroom if we stay the way that we are. This consolidation will harm the educational environment and our ability to learn if you all choose to consolidate our school. Thank you.
Mrs. Poland is going her time to Debbie Wright. So Debbie Wright.
My name is Debbie Wright. I am a past president of the East Bank High School Alumni Association. And just to follow up on one of the things that General Tackett pointed out to you, we do provide $150,000 worth of scholarships to Riverside High School seniors every year. We do not ask them, did you go to East Bank or did you go to DuPont? We're all about the kids for the entire area. And so that's my focus tonight. The first batch of my comments is really directed toward the administration. Kanawha County Schools put out a beautiful video a few months ago about community and how the schools impact the community and the teachers and the students, and many parents were on that video. I'm not sure any of those would volunteer here tonight to be on that video again after this abrupt announcement about East Bank being absorbed into DuPont. Kanawha County Schools promotes community by LSICs, community partnerships with the businesses, the business owners in their communities. If you go to any school in Kanawha County, you'll see a sign by the school that says who their partner is. I feel like this has been a great thing, and you want community input until you don't. And this has been one of those situations. And it's very disappointing that all of this has come about. You said you took 2 years, I was at the September 3rd board meeting where you announced that it took you 2 years to come up with this plan. And now we're given 1 evening for input. And I just think that's absurd. I'd like to change my focus for a minute. And there was a saying that came out of a Shakespeare play, what's in a name? Well, Juliet, let me tell you what's in a name. Community pride is in a name. Each of these schools that have their community's name are so proud of it. And in this situation, we have Riverside High School, and the entire Upper Kanawha Valley is so proud of it. It means a lot. Schools are the heart of the community. Family life revolves around school life. School life at all levels, whether it's elementary school, whether it's middle school, whether it's high school. We go to fall festivals. We go to spring festivals for the elementary kids. We go to sports activities for the middle schools and the high schools. We go to plays. We go to concerts. It's the heart of the community. And what you're doing right now feels like heart surgery to us. You are trying to take community and make them share someone else's name. We lose our name. We recognize that, I'm sorry, that's my place. We recognize, how important that is to keep a community together and to work together. Like Alan said before, for Riverside High School it was a totally different picture. Everybody realized that it was going to be for the good of the students, and we worked together and created a wonderful educational environment for those kids. Board members, I'm asking you, have any of you been through a consolidation, either as a student or a parent? Please think about that. Please think about that when you're realizing the impact that it had then and the impact that it's going to have in this community. I ask you that you vote your conscience when you do this vote tonight, and I'm asking you to please send this proposal back to the drawing board. It needs redesigned. Thank you.
Is that the correct pronunciation? Cheyenne?
I'd like to take a second to thank for allowing me up here. Of course, I don't have a lot of history with this area like the previous people. Our family's new to the area, but I'm not highly educated, so I'm not going to come up here and pretend like I'm not. But I am honest. I'm a mother, and I'd like to speak from the heart. I'm obviously not prepared. This morning I woke up, didn't even know I was going to be here, but my daughter asked me to speak on her behalf because of the fear she has with the schools merging. She already don't get enough time as it is. The children, all I've been hearing really is the budget, prices, numbers. There's not, the main focus should be the kids, their mental health, their physical health and well-being. Being overwhelmed in the school, it's not going to do these kids any justice. Look at the previous schools. Chesapeake is still struggling. It's not right to do this. I know, that we need to figure out something, but such short notice, there's not no. I'd really like y'all to reconsider and give them more time. I'm sorry, that was my daughter. She probably wasn't aware. But the schools, like I said, I can speak from the heart. When I was in school, it was overpopulated back then, and there wasn't enough one-on-one. I honestly wasn't able to fully go where I needed to be until I was pulled from Kanawha County Schools and homeschooled. And that's another thing with a lot of these schools, parents aren't going to accept the children being overwhelmed, having anxiety attacks with too much population. If there's a need, they're not going to be able to, they're understaffed. How are they going to watch all these children when incidents happen already because they're understaffed? So, I'm sorry. She's a girl, so my main concern is that I'm not going to allow my children to be overwhelmed. And I hate even considering the fact of having to pull my children out of the schools, but they are what comes first. Their mental and safe well-being comes first. And I understand there's a lot of budget concerns, but there's almost 24,000 kids being pulled from the board already in homeschool because the parents won't go safe. Thank you.
Graduating from the University of Charleston in 2021, as well as my bachelor's, and I'll be finishing my master's in the spring as well. That being said, I wanted to share just some general statistics that I found. There was a study published earlier in this year, actually in March, that kids who experienced school closures in grades K through 12 were less likely to attend college by 4.8%, less likely to complete college if they even enrolled, and they were less likely to be employed, their annual earnings were lower, and all of the test scores went downhill. These are statistics we know. We know there is no positive statistic in terms of school closures. This was from a study done in Texas of nearly 470 closures over a time of 17 years. We know West Virginia statistics. We know that we are some of the lowest ranking in a large amount of different statistics. But only 30% of Kanawha County adults have a bachelor's degree or higher. Our leading categories of occupation in Kanawha County is management, business, science, and arts. Can't really do anything without a proper education to get into those fields as well. I have worn several hats leading into my adulthood. I'm now 25 years old. I'm a graduate of all these beautiful schools. In terms of my local endeavors, I've been a first responder. I'm a nationally registered paramedic. I have served here in the community of Bell, and I've also been a substitute teacher, and I'm currently coach the volleyball team at East Bay Middle School. Which is hard on me, hard on the kids that deserve nothing less of the opportunity to play sports and just be cared for. To close, because I'm running out of time, but I want to remind you of
be 6 minutes, so if you want to, if the scrub is going to speak, it'll still be 6 minutes. All right. Good evening, Ms. Carter.
I am a graduate of East Bank High School 1983 class. Thank you. I just want to say this is not just about two schools. It's about students and it's about teachers. Local communities identify themselves with their school, and this absorption will involve a small town losing a school. Children will be lost in a large consolidated school, and they won't be able to identify with the new school. Larger class sizes are detrimental to the majority of students. They don't get the help they need, and many will fall behind, something that has already happened with the COVID debacle. Larger class sizes will disenfranchise students at both schools and teachers. In addition to this, many students from East Bank Middle will be on buses for an hour or more. And is this not a state law that only 45 minutes of bus time is allowed? For example, I know some others gave examples, but the kids who live in Montgomery or in the hollows of Cane Creek and Cabin Creek will have at least an extra 20 minutes each way, added onto an already long bus ride. For once, make this decision to benefit the students, not the budget. I urge you to reconsider closing East Bank Middle School. I also have a statement that I was given from Senator Ruby Phillips and Senator Mike Stewart. Both of them are currently in a special session at the behest of the governor, and they regret that they cannot attend this session this evening. This is their statement. We appreciate that in a time of declining enrollment and limited finances, that there are necessarily tough choices that must be made at times regarding our school system as well as other programs critical to our communities. Although consolidation may come with an immediate cost savings, we are substantially concerned about the long-term costs to critical but challenged communities and to our students' both short and long-term interests. Not long ago, very few families chose homeschool or charter school options, but in part as a result of consolidation, homeschooling and other education options are thriving. Actions such as this one do nothing to solve the challenge of public schools, but rather they accelerate the further diminishment of children from our school systems, and as a result, further aggravate challenging circumstances. We share great concern as to the impact on challenged communities, those like East Bank, loss of industry, loss of jobs, financial challenges to the community. Closing East Bank Middle does nothing but further hasten community decline. As part of this process of evaluating the consolidation of East Bank into DuPont, we have reviewed the application with respect to community impact. We are concerned and dismayed at the lack of a thorough evaluation of community impact as part of this process. We intend to address this issue through legislation in the next legislative session. We are also concerned about the lack of representation of the Upper Kanawha Valley on the Kanawha County School Board. This decision is one that will potentially have grave, long-term effects on a proud community. Yet the decision will ultimately be made by those that are, in reality, mere observers, not participants in the local economy of East Bank and the Upper Kanawha Valley. If this proposal were to consolidate Horse Man or John Adams into East Bank as opposed to consolidating East Bank into DuPont, we are confident that the fury would be intense. As a pure business proposition, we can confidently opine that the property comprising Horse Man is immediately far more valuable than the property comprising the school of East Bank. But these decisions are almost solely decisions to consolidate schools in challenged communities at the expense of causing further harm to challenged communities. We are also greatly concerned at the lack of practical focus on our students. We live in the midst of the great public health crisis in our lifetimes, the opioid crisis. And students' engagement in school and extracurricular activities is critical to keeping our students on the right path. But 15 minute commutes challenge families and student engagement in both academics and extracurricular activities. Rather than requiring our kids to spend nearly 2 hours on the bus to and from school, we should be more attuned with the mental health of our students by trying to make sure our kids are local to their schools rather than local to a bus stop. Rather than consolidation and making more vulnerable our communities and our families, we should be focused on strengthening communities. Bigger is not always better. In fact, the data is clear. Smaller is more effective. We respectfully request that you reconsider the consolidation proposal and reconsider community and student long-term impact. Again, thank you for your consideration. This is a critically important issue that we are hopeful you will take with the seriousness of the decision that it demands. Sincerely, Senator Ruby Phillips and Senator Mike Stewart.
I'm in robotics, chess, volleyball, archery, band, softball teams, and I'm the manager of the East Bend football team. Each one of these coaches has inspired me. They are the reason I have good grades. They make me want to do my best and work my hardest academically. And I have gotten mastery level every year in school. This absorption will affect me and other students academically. Putting almost twice as much children in one room with one teacher is going to be difficult on the children trying to learn and the teachers. And the opportunities of sports, I and many other students from East Bay will not be able to do as many sports because of the clear favoritism. And unless you are willing to make two teams, then I don't see how this is fair. You want more Potter, you want more Randy Mosses, you want more Chris Maxey's that are absolute prodigies in the NFL and are amazing athletes. But doing this has less and less opportunities for children. One vote for consolidation is 100 against your 11. I love this school and the staff, and I want to give a special thanks to Mr. Monson and Mr. Helby. They always encourage me to do my best. I love the staff and the teachers.
So this morning I wasn't planning to speak, but I was drafted by my wife. I am not a born member who would have been raised in the East Bay Society, but I've fallen in love with this community and the village you see behind me. Through this love, I've come to understand that they take care of their own. At East Bank Middle, an aspect of mental health for every student is the importance of knowing where their next meal and where their next change of clothes that are clean will come from. At EBMS, a service is provided to all students from the food and clothing pantry. This is provided free of charge and operates solely off of donations from the community and churches in the area. When children are coming to school and no meals they get during breakfast and lunch could possibly be the only warm meals they receive during that day, they know they can go to any teacher or principal and will be taken care of with a basket of food to take home. Some children from families that are not able to provide as much as some in the way of clothing as well. EBMS provides coats during the winter, shoes, and other items that are a basic necessity to survive for these children. We know in the current state of affairs within the economy, things are not easy for all of us, and there are some that struggle more than others, especially when you have more than one child at home. Some families go home, some children go home to not having power or running water because the bill has to be put on hold to afford groceries or medicine. So I urge you to take these kids' futures in this community and these vital resources available to them into consideration. According to the CDC, 36.7% of children experience persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness. 18.8% of those children contemplate suicide, with 15.7% of them developing a plan to do so. SaveTheChildren.org states that nutrition and clothing are major contributing factors to these statistics. I ask you that you take a look at the village behind me tonight and understand that all of us have taken up arms in order to have this epidemic of clothing and food shortage met by all of us giving to these children. One child being displaced further from this community and further from the benefit of their daily lives by all of us is too much. We ask you that we take into consideration this message tonight and the message from these coaches, from Mr. Blair, and the entire community behind you. Please understand this is not about budget. This is about how we feel for the emotional wellness of every single one of these children. We care about them. We pray for them when we go to fight for them, when we go to bat for them. I do so tonight in position of this message. Please do not absorb these schools together. Thank you very much.
Consolidations, and I understand that they were easy. City Grove first, Riverside High School, and then also City Grove came to DuPont. So I do have an understanding of how students may feel displaced before they get to DuPont, but I do want to assure everyone, no matter the outcome of the vote, that no matter where I am, the principal, that I and my staff will continue to love these students and do the best we can, offer them the best education. I'm sorry.
I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. As you can tell, I'm a little bit nervous too.
Yeah.
These are people that I grew up with on both sides. Because I grew up as a teacher at East Bank. I grew up and graduated from DuPont Middle School. So it's a very trying time for me as a principal and as someone who is a big part of the community. I love the passion that I see in this city. But the only thing I can show you is that if this vote does vote, if the board does vote in favor of the consolidation, that the same passion will be given to every student that walks into that building. We love our students. I will love all students. Shoot, I love East Bank students now. I love all Kanawha County students. I think that we continue with this type of passion for these students on the eastern end of Kanawha County. These students will be successful. And I know that in the school where I'm the principal, that we will continue to show that type of passion for these students, and that we will continue to love these students, and we will continue to give them not just that top-notch academic education, but we're also taking care of their social, emotional well-being, as well as their physical well-being. So thank you very much. And again, I do understand. I have been there. And all I can say is that we will promise, if this vote does go through, that we will continue to love these students and give them the best education that we possibly can. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm a teacher at DuPont Middle School, and I went back and forth on whether I was going to say anything tonight, and I was doing homework with my son. He just started kindergarten before this, and I thought, no, if he was in this situation, I would want the teacher to stand up and say something. So I have no problems with East Bank, and should East Bank join our school, I'll gladly welcome them and teach them. However, I do not agree with this consolidation. The mission of Kanawha County Schools, as an earlier speaker said, is is to make sure that all students are college and career ready. And I don't see how this consolidation advances that mission. In fact, I think it actually undercuts it. This consolidation will lead to longer commutes. We've already heard that. Longer commutes lead to higher rates of absenteeism, which I know is a big focus of the school board this year. It'll also lead to fewer students participating in extracurricular activities, removing protective factors for many students who might be at risk. On top of that, the consolidation will lead to larger class sizes. From my own experience as a teacher, so many years I've lost count, 12 or 13 years. From my own experience and also from numerous studies, larger class sizes lead to worse grades, worse test scores, and worse behavior. For all those reasons, I don't see how any of this advances our mission, and for all those reasons, I encourage you to vote against the consolidation.
First, I want to say thank you to each of the folks who frankly have the courage to speak and to make your positions and opinions known. This feedback and this input is extremely valuable for us as board members. As you know, we are elected members of the community, and in order for us to fully understand the position, we have to get this information. So I do want to say thank you very much for taking your time to do that. Next on the agenda, and just to make sure everybody understands the process and how this works and how we are required to operate the meeting, is a motion that's have to be made in order for us as a board to open up discussion and ask questions to the superintendent and to one another. We do have to have a motion on the table in order to do that. That is a general motion that at the end, once we've had discussion, we can vote that either up or down. So our current president pro tem is Mrs. Kate White. She is required to read the motions, and so I'm going to ask her to read the motion as it is currently written on the agenda.
I move the board close East Bank Middle School at the end of the 2024-25 school year and consolidate students into DuPont Middle School for the reasons stated and as described in the closing documents provided to the public.
I second the motion.
The motion has been moved and seconded, and now we can open the discussion. And I'm going to ask, just to keep things in order, I'm going to ask to start at this end of the table. That's okay with you, Mrs. White. For questions to begin. So Mrs. White.
First of all, I have a comment to Ms. Balser, Ms. Wills, and Ms. Tibbetts. I'd like to congratulate, say thank you for coming to speaking. I always say there's no better and for the folks who said I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, I can't tell you how many rooms I walked in and wasn't planning on speaking and grabbed the mic anyway. Sometimes that's the best way to go with what you've got. Some questions I have. One of the big questions that we heard tonight was the discrepancy of transportation times. So can you explain why we came up with an hour difference as to what Mr. Cox brought up?
That's what we did. Mr. Redmond, our transportation director, used GPS to figure out and then how much they normally are from East Bank, and then from East Bank, how much they would be to
Excuse me. One thing I didn't mention whenever we started this process after the motion was made is that we do ask that respect is provided to us so we can be heard when questions are being answered. In order for everyone in this room to be able to hear what the answers are to the questions, we are going to ask that comments, please refrain from making comments so Dr. Williams and other board members have that opportunity to speak. Thank you very much. Dr. Williams.
So they figured out what the runs are to East Bank, and from East Bank to DuPont. And that's through GPS, and that's through what our drivers have told Mr. Redmond, and that's what the information he gave us.
Okay. It was brought up by several people about the clothing closets, the food pantries. Does DuPont not have one of those?
Mr. Canterbury?
I didn't think you wanted anybody to speak on that.
If Dr. Williams has a question for the principal of the school, he's definitely permitted to answer a question, sir.
I just want to know if there's one to do one. Yeah, he did say that they do have a closet that they didn't have a closet, that can you just come up to the mic and answer, that's probably easier.
I know I was nervous about the first time that I bring it back up here. We do have the student fund that we have in the public school, which is a way to get kids things that they need. We also do provide students baskets of food to go home with food. Yes.
So there's not an actual closet like there is at East Bank?
We do have clothes, and we do have clothes that are available at school. Most of the time we
Can you just say it here, because you're probably going to have to answer this question too. It was,
Well, once again, the board members are asking questions right now. I understand that, but right now we are asking board members to ask questions.
if your principal was here, we would ask him too, like.
Yeah.
One was it was brought up several times about the clothing closet and the food pantry. It was brought up about the mental health component that happens at East Bank. Do we not have one of those at DuPont?
We have a school counselor. We don't have Title I, which is, I think, maybe where it's messed up.
Okay.
No Title I?
We have, actually, the Canawha County Schools, and our building, we provide some of the services.
So if this absorption, consolidation, whatever we want to call it tonight, if this happens, what will happen to that clinic?